Scorching desert heat. The record-setting string of 31 consecutive days above 110 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona, is just part of an unrelenting series of summer heat waves in the southwest and southern United States. The dangerously hot conditions this summer contribute to the historical heat wave in Phoenix, while baking Texas and the South, breaking daily high temperature records. Excessive heat alerts and warnings stretched into the Midwest and other states, and it's not just in the U.S., as the month of July is now confirmed to be the Earth's warmest month on record.
It's likely that 2023 will break records as the warmest year ever. This summer, June and July, these months have been the warmest months ever by a lot. And so we really seem to be on a sort of, record-shattering trajectory.
Michael Wysession is a professor of geophysics in the Department of Earth, Environmental, and Planetary Sciences at Washington University in St. Louis. He's closely observing the summer of 2023.
So this is our future. This is it. I mean, things will just get worse.
Wysession says with the record-breaking global heat and the extreme downpours, it's hard to ignore that something unusual is going on with the weather in 2023. Through Wysession's studies, he's published that he's expecting unusually high temperatures to continue through at least 2025, which means even more extreme weather in the near future.
When I said in that paper, continue at least through 2025, that doesn't mean 2026 we go back to how we were in pre-revolutionary times. I mean, this is the rest of your life. This is the rest of my kids' life. With the increase in greenhouse gases, almost always each year will be worse than the one before. Now, these small fluctuations mean you may hit an extreme situation in 2025, and 2026 might be a little bit less, but it will still be much more than 2020.
He says the heat domes will get stronger and grow in size, and Wysession points to a study that shows a greater concern by the year 2028.
There is a 50% chance that we will topple 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial times by the year 2028. That's a pretty dire warning, because once you start getting that warm, you're on the verge of hitting some of these major climate tipping points that are basically points of no return.
How is this also immediately possible? First, Wysession explains, humans have increased the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere by 50%, primarily through the combustion of fossil fuels in vehicles and power plants. He says the best way to help would be an immediate and drastic shift away from fossil fuels. However, some contributing factors to the heat make matters more of a hot mess.
They've all combined to be a positive increase to the global temperature.
First, El Niño, which has a storyline that's still unfolding.
There's a 90% chance of there being a full-blown El Niño. It will take a year or so to see this borne out. During a time of an El Niño, the water kind of backs up in the western part and starts to flow back again. This warm water at the equator, unusually warm water, transfers heat to the atmosphere and warms the Earth.
Then the plot thickens with solar fluctuations.
We are getting a boost in our temperature globally from this increase in solar energy. So the solar cycle that corresponds to the flipping of its magnetic field has an 11-year cycle that is very predictable. The amplitude can vary, but the timing is pretty set. And the current solar output is increasing, and the sun's output will peak in the year 2025.
And a most unusual twist, the largest volcanic eruption of the 21st century so far.
it turns out that this large eruption in Tonga, the Hunga eruption, released an unusually small amount of these cooling sulfate aerosols. But because the eruption occurred underwater, it vaporized a vast amount of seawater and put a huge amount of water vapor up into the atmosphere. And water vapor is a very powerful greenhouse gas. It'll stay in the atmosphere for many years. And it's predicted that this warming, now it's not even at the level of the solar maximum, but it will add warming to our atmosphere for probably at least the next 5 years or so. And so it's just one more factor that has tipped the scales so that we are once again, in record-breaking territories.
Wysession says that because of the unfortunate timing of several parts of the climate system on top of global warming caused by people, it seems the odds are not in our favor. For example, he says severe swings from droughts to downpours and flash floods are part of global warming.
Extreme weather changes, rapid changes, are what has been expected and forecast by the climate model. Expected result of an increased global temperature.
And more extreme weather, like this dust storm rolling into the Phoenix area, immediately followed by a severe and damaging thunderstorm. This storm kicked off the summer of 2023 monsoon season with a bang, just as people in Arizona are dealing with the excessive heat. Wysession says sudden and frequent changes like this are part of global warming.
Things flipping back and forth. You might not stay in the monsoon. It might shut off unpredictably and go into a drought and then come back again. When things are, there's just more energy in the system, you get greater variations in temperature and pressure. Wind can be suddenly stronger. And it's these temperature-driven pressure changes that drive these winds. Everything just becomes a little bit more extreme.